Did you know that it's called a cell phone because it's like a tiny prison? Think about that, man. That's crazy. Now, I know some of you guys are numbers people, so I already went ahead and calculated all of that before I pressed record for the screen time average. Now, what I could find on the internet, it's about 5 hours-ish a day, give or take an hour or so. But let's just say, simple terms, you're 20 years old right now, you're going to live until you're 75. You have 55 years left of your life. What is that in day count in hours left of your life? For days, that's 20,075 days left of your life. For hours, that's a little bit less than 482,000 hours. Sounds like we have a lot of time and I can do this, I can do that. Yeah, time's on my side, right? If you're on your phone every single day for 5 hours, this is even counting in the past tense, right? All the time that you've spent and wasted on your phone in the past. I'm just talking ahead of time, a future. Okay. What's that going to look like? That's 100,000 hours, 100,375 hours on your phone out of that 482, right? Whatever, a little bit less than a fourth, right? That comes out to 4,182 days total that you would spend on your phone. Now, the real kicker here, the real eye opener, to me at least, I don't know about you guys, but 11 and a half years of your life you would be spending on your phone if you spent 5 hours a day on it, which is what most of us end up doing. 11 and a half years. Holy shit, that is scary as hell to see. Now, let me ask you guys, when was the last time in your life you had a period where you weren't on your phone? For most of us, the general answer is going to be our childhood, depending on what generation you were born in and what that looks like. But how did you feel in your childhood? Were you stressed out? Did you have a lot of doubt, anxiety, worry, jealousy, comparing yourself to other people? Or was it very vibrant? Was it playful? Nothing on your plate? You had the best time of your life. You were extremely happy? Because what I can recall with my experience was option number two, where I didn't have any jealousy. I didn't have any worry. I wasn't comparing myself to other people. I wasn't looking at what other people were doing. I was just enjoying the present moment, being present in time, having fun, being playful, and just being outside, being with nature like we're supposed to be doing. And I think we can really look back upon those times and just see what the difference is like when we have a phone versus when we don't have a phone. Now, where I'm going with this video revolves around this $30 gadget right here, the flip phone, and how I feel the flip phone is the meta now. I'll get into that a little bit, but I wanted to go through my experience with a normal smartphone, which is what 99.999% of people have nowadays, and how I felt towards that and how a lot of us can resonate towards the same feelings. Before I got the flip phone, which was just a half a year ago, back in December of 2023 or so, I always had that pull towards the phone like we all feel, where it's in your pocket and you have a moment of boredom or a moment where you're not busy doing something, where you're at the red light, you're waiting in line for groceries, you're in the elevator, you're whatever, right? And we all have that feel, that gravitational pull towards pulling out the phone and going on it. I felt that my life fully revolved around this gadget, this item. And the first thing I would do in the morning, what did I do? I would go on my phone and check social media. I would check who texted me. Last thing I would do every single night, I would go on my phone and do the same exact thing. And I felt that everything was managed through that rather than myself managing the phone. The phone was managing my life, and every single aspect, every single facet of my life ran through those dimensions of the phone. I was completely losing control over my life with the smartphone. That was priority number one. That took precedent over everything else. And it's not that I felt that way. It's not that I wanted to that way. That's just the science and the technology. And that's how all these companies, they get you so addicted to doing that. Whenever I had a moment of boredom, I always told myself, hey, it's not good to be bored. You don't have to be bored. You can be like everybody else. You can pull out your phone rather than just being with my own thoughts and socializing with other people and just being present in the moment. I would distract myself with the phone, all the artificial entertainment, and just be like a cyber zombie, like most people are nowadays, where they're so consumed in their phone, they're glued at the hip, they're conjoined at the hip with their phone, where if their phone isn't on them, they feel uncomfortable. How is that normal? Why are we normalizing that? And the funny thing is, with the digital dementia era that we're in right now, we spend countless hours on these apps, doom scrolling, consuming content, whatever. And I guarantee you, I guarantee you most of you guys cannot remember what you guys were scrolling through, what you were consuming yesterday, let alone the week prior, or even just a couple days ago. And with time is such a precious resource because it's one of the few things that we know is irreplaceable, and we have no idea what our amount left is in life. It's not like with money, we can just go check out our bank account and, oh yeah, I have this much left in my bank account. We don't have a magic genie ball. We don't have that 8 ball to tell us, oh, shake the ball. How much time do we have left? None of us know. Today could be our last day. Tomorrow could be our last day. Next month. And we spend this precious resource on stuff that we can't even remember, stuff that we can't even recall what we were consuming. Now, if you were reading books, if you were working hard towards your business, you were doing a career that you would definitely remember doing that, but you can't even remember most of the content that you consume and recall it. Now, what I've seen out in the world, being observant since I've had the flip phone, and just even prior to that, but I wasn't as aware to the issue that we have of the digital dementia that we have going on, everyone being a cyber zombie, until really I pulled away from that and had the flip phone for so long, at least for half a year, is everyone is glued to it. It doesn't matter if you're a kid, you're a teenager, in your 20s, 30s, even if you're an elder, everybody shows the same tendencies and habits. I'm talking if you're in the sauna. One of the big ones I've seen is in the sauna. The sauna is about relaxation and breath work, and, meditation, things like that. That's what it's for Zen. And if you're here in the US, I guarantee you, if you go into the sauna at any big name gym, commercial gym, whatever, I guarantee you will see at least 1 to 2, if not half the people that are in there that are on their phones, they have their AirPods in there. Okay. You're in the sauna for what, 15, 20 minutes? Are you trying to tell me that you can't sit there for 15, 20 minutes, focus and be present in the moment on what you are doing, which is being in the sauna, which is to relax you and has all the other medicine and benefits and stuff. But they can't go without their phone for 15 minutes. That's how glued they are to that damn device. It's absurd. It's absolutely absurd. And that's just one example. I'm talking about you go to the gym, in between every single set, somebody picks it up. It's like they reward themselves. They did a hard set. Oh, I got to go to my phone. Why can't you just sit there and think upon the last set that you did? Or write down on your phone, or even just, in a physical notebook, like what I do, write down your last set and your reps and your technique and how many reps you had in reserve, or just sit there and focus on your breath. But no, because it's boring, it's not stimulating enough. Think about that. If you look at how life is situated nowadays, how everything is set up and organized, the most stimulating things versus what's normal. Back in the day when we didn't have phones, the most stimulating things was going to the gym, was listening to good music, was doing your work. But now you have video games, you got the phone, you got good tasting food, so on and so forth. They have all these different items that are going to be trumping the less stimulating things that are having a purpose and are having a meaning and are beneficial in your life. And that's why it makes sense. That's just human nature. That's just tendencies. It's just our evolution since we've had these phones. And there's plethora of other examples. You could think of going to the airport and everyone's on their phone. They got their beats on. They got their headphones on. You go on the plane, everyone's already watching a movie. As soon as you freaking sit down on the plane, it seems like every breathing moment somebody has to be stimulated. And that is just so detrimental for that person, because anything that is remotely hard in their life, anything that is even lower on the stimulation scale, they are going to have no interest in doing. It's going to be such a drag for them to have to do that. Technology, unfortunately, really is a silent killer of your time, your focus, and your energy levels. All the artificial entertainment that people are getting, it really is just a distraction. It's a front, it's a cover to take you away from your true purpose in your life and to make people just fucking savages. It takes people, I know there's this quote where something along the lines, don't quote me if I get it wrong, but it's something like, when men don't have a purpose, they distract themselves with pleasure and entertainment, or something along those lines. And when there's so much pleasure and entertainment at every single corner, as soon as you open your phone, you have a notification. You go to the restaurant or something, you go to school, there's just all this entertainment everywhere. There's just so much distraction and entertainment and pleasures that it is so hard for anybody to just be dialed in on their purpose and their passion and what they want to be fulfilled in with life. You could scroll on Instagram or TikTok for the rest of your life if you wanted to. There's unlimited content you can never see. And even if you did that, even if you scrolled every single day nonstop, you never got any sleep, you never ate anything, you scroll for those 482,000 hours of your life left, you still wouldn't see all the content that is out there on the internet, because that is how much damn content there is. The more color that you have on these digital devices, the less color that you have in your life. Everything seems so bleak and just boring and washed out in your normal life when you spend so much time on this, because you're always seeing everything that's so grand and fancy and awesome on the phone, comparing yourself to other people. And then you go to your normal life and you're like, my life is shit. This sucks. I want to go back on my phone. They get you in this positive reinforcement cycle. Now let's get after my experience with this little guy right here. Something you wouldn't find, even in a fucking antique store. So when I first got this guy right here, I got it back in December. of 2023. And the big inspiration for why I got this, not only because of how I was feeling in that current time, how I just told you about, and how I imagine a lot of you guys can resonate with, but I was actually watching Prison Break at the time. And Prison Break, I believe, was filmed in the early 2000s or late 90s. I don't really know. But they had flip phones. And I'm also a big fan. I love Breaking Bad. And what did they have in that show? They got the flip phones, right? And those two things, with my current experience at the time, it just really just struck at home. And I was like, dude, I need to get a flip phone. That would be so baller to look like fucking Jesse Pinkman out on the streets calling people, because people would be like, what the hell is this ancient alien doing with a flip phone? Why don't you have a smartphone? Who do you dude, are you living in current day time? Like, why do you have a flip phone? I imagine that's what most people think when they see me whip this little guy out right here and, make phone calls and shit. But when I got this guy right here, and mind you, it costs 30 bucks. 30 bucks. That's like your standard Chipotle meal if you get double steak and, avocado. So when I first got this guy 7-8 months ago, let's just say half a year ago, back in 2023, I felt so stylish for the first couple of days using it. And then it became such a pain in the ass after that, because we get so used to the phone and we take for granted how easy it is to use this and the abundance of just shit that we can do on it, and how limited you are by using a flip phone that can literally only call and text, and you could take pictures and stuff, but the quality is like taking a picture on a Nintendo DS. It's terrible. But texting on this thing more than a sentence is, oh God, it's a punishment. But it's well worth it because you become more intentional with the phone. What I started to realize after a couple of weeks of using it is, not only was I being more present in the current time, but I was socializing like a madman, because I couldn't whip it out. Like, what am I gonna do to whip it out in line at the grocery store? Like, am I just gonna be like looking through like the calculator and shit? Like, there's nothing to look on here. There's nothing to get distracted on with a flip phone. So I was socializing way more than I was prior. When I was in line, when I was in the elevator, I would just ask people how they're doing, make conversation. And I wasn't doing that prior. That was one of the first things I noticed, one of the biggest changes I noticed by having this. And that was just after a week or two. Another big factor that I noticed with getting the flip phone was my fear of missing out completely vanished. Where if somebody texted me, somebody called me, whatever, I'm fucking busy right now, bro. Like, I don't have to reply to you. I don't have to text you right now. And like, I'm not trying to sound disrespectful to them or, have anything against them, but I need to work off my own schedule, my own time, because when you don't have your own schedule, your own time, and you always work off somebody else's stuff, you just feel so behind and you don't feel like you have any sort of control aspect of your own life. And when I have this right here and I can't get distracted by anything else, and somebody texts, calls me, I'm going to get back to them. But when I have free time to get back to them, when I want to get back to them, and when I'm just going to be able to do so when I have a little break in my day. That's something that was a huge indicator for me, something that was a green flag that I noticed with getting the flip phone. Of course, at first I had a little bit of a learning curve and it was tough because, the fear of missing out, you had that gravitational pull towards the phone, but that also disappeared with this as well. I don't have this, if I have it in my pocket, I don't have this urge to just pull it out and look at it because I know there's nothing to look at this guy right here. With the smartphone, you have unlimited things you can look. You can look at your photos, you can scroll Instagram, you could call your mom, you could text your girlfriend. You could do a million things on this, but with this guy, this has like 2 or 3 functions at most, and I don't have that pull towards this anymore. I use it sparingly and I use it purposely as well. I'm not just pulling it out because of my neural circuit that's been set up where whenever I get a notification or whenever I get a buzz or whenever I get that urge, that pull towards doing it, I just pull it out. That has completely gone away with the flip phone as well. That is another pro. One of the last key things that I think you guys will appreciate is with the flip phone, at first you think, oh, I'm going to be such a loser with a flip phone. I can't do all this stuff. I'm not as cool as other people. But people really do appreciate you for going against the grain and doing the hard shit in life by getting that. I remember one of the times where I had a CPR class and I brought my flip phone with me. And when everyone saw that I had a flip phone, they're like, whoa, you actually have a flip phone? And essentially what it is some people, they get angry at first and they give hatred, which is just an indirect version of their insecurities giving off. It's just a symptom of them. But other people, they really respect you for doing it because they're like, hey, I know I should be doing that and I want to do it, but I've just been too afraid to make the move. And because I let my brain make all the decisions rather than myself, But I respect you for doing that because that's something I thought of and that's something I want to do. I've just been too afraid to do it. So you have two sides of it, but at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter what other people think. You're always going to think that things are a lot worse because of the spotlight effect, where you think more people are looking at you than people actually are. I call it the triple D, kind of like Triple H from WWE, if you're an old WWE fan, and also Triple D's, who doesn't love a good pair of wobbles, right? If you know, you know. The devious, diabolical device right here. If you're trying to get disconnected and not always be connected 24/7, not have a fear of missing out, be able to unplug from the digital dementia that we have going on right now, the less technology that you have in your life, the farther that you can get away from the technology, the more freedom and autonomy that you're going to have, especially with this guy right here. I challenge you to go against the grain. Whether you end up making the leap or not, it's not going to affect me. It's not going to affect your friends. It's only going to be affecting you and the outlook of your life. I understand it seems extremely daunting to do. This is all you've known. This thing right here is all you've known and how to incorporate in your life for the past probably 10 years of your life. I understand it's going to be one of the hardest things that you can do, but imagine if you can be that guy. Imagine if you can be that person that pulls up to a red light and just sits there. You're completely content with your life, everything that you have going on, and in the present moment, that you don't have to feel to reach for that urge, because that urge, reaching for that urge, is just a symptom of something that is inside of you, that indirect emotional response that you're having. And we have wired that in ourselves to always continue doing that. But imagine if you could be that person that is just so content with who you are that you don't always have to reach into that. You don't have to be a cyber zombie like everybody else in this current time and just be so happy with what you got going on right now. And you dumb things down. You make your phone an actual dumb phone, a simple phone. You don't have to get all these other apps. I have Opal and stuff, which is cool, but you don't even have to get that. If you get a flip phone, your phone is truly a dumb phone. You don't have to make all these adjustments on your phone. This guy right here is that you're going to be the true limiter of being a cyber zombie. Stay grounded, put your energy into shit that's going to be moving the needle in your life and being able to pay off dividends, especially for your future self, while everyone else is going to be wondering where the time went while you were too busy doing that. All right, clientele, go earn your self-respect today and put in the work.